Well, hello everybody. Hi, how are we doing? I just decided to do a random live stream because I'm bored on a Sunday, and I've just been kind of contemplating some of the passengers. Hi, Oracle. Hi, BBG in Cornwall. Just been Hi, Ollie. Just been trying to figure out some stuff about where the passengers were sitting because there is some incongruence with some things that we discussed in the other night's live stream about how perhaps Robert Gregory was the obnoxious drunk because he said that, or because Bill Mitchell said that a elderly man in the row in front of him was being obnoxious. But we're going to try and figure this out. So I just figured we would do it live, as Bill O'Reilly famously said. We'll do it live. So I'm just going to share my screen, and we can go through kind of what my thought process is about where the passengers were sitting and things like this. The main thing, what I really wanted to figure out was in Tina's 302. If we look at Tina's 302 on page 4 of her Philadelphia 302, you can see that she says here that while the aircraft was being taxied to the area at which the aircraft would be parked, she asked the hijackers permission to move 5 passengers away from the immediate area of his seat, which he approved of, and she did. Now, what's interesting about that is I just want to know who the 5 passengers were, right? That's kind of what my thought process for today is to try to figure out who the 5 passengers were. Now, obviously, I know who most of them were, and we can go through that, but essentially, we've got 5 passengers who were moved up to get away from Cooper. And that's kind of what the whole kit and caboodle is today. So that's what I'm going to try and figure out. And I'm going to be doing this, like I said, I'm going to do it live. And you can just kind of go through my thought process. There's going to be lots of ums and ahs on me. So it's going to be boring. This is like AP Cooper. Okay, this is not Cooper 101. This is advanced placement Cooper. This would get you into Stanford. If you got a 1600 on your SAT for Cooper, then you can probably hang with me on this stuff and not pass out of sheer boredom. So anyway, what I'm going to do is what I've got here is I've devised, and I'll show it to you right now. I've got a seating chart. Essentially, I made a little graphic here on my Photoshop where you can see where I've got all the passengers, and I have the stews and the crew and things like this. And I guess the crew, pretty easy to move around. Captain Scott there, Radicek, move him. Andy's going to be at his flight engineer's seat right there. So the scenario that we're looking for is when the passengers moved up, which is after they landed, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and put flow for now. Let's just say they landed just now. I'll put flow right there in the, I'll zoom in a little bit. I'll put flow there in the jump seat in the cockpit. And Alice is going to be in her jump seat, which is right around here. Okay, right outside the door. Of course, we zoom out. Tina's going to be, we know where Tina's going to be. Obviously, Tina's going to be in 18D, and Mr. Cooper here will be in 18E. Okay, so we have all these passengers to figure out where they were and all this sort of stuff. Now, the easiest way to figure out we can go ahead and dispense of the easy ones. Obviously, let's see, where's Bill? Okay, where is Bill Mitchell? There he is. Okay, so we know where Bill was sitting when they landed. Bill is in 18B. We know that. Okay. And I'm trying to think of who else we might know for certain. Okay, we'll go through it. Okay, so Michael Cooper says that he was in 17A, which would be the window seat of 17. Okay, which that makes sense to me. That checks out because the ones that we know from their testimony, we have them saying I was moved up is Spreckle, Cooper, Michael Cooper, Spreckle, Cooper, and Bill Mitchell. We know that they moved up. So who are the two that were missing? Now, Gregory, if Gregory in Gregory's testimony, let's pull up. Let's see. Let's pull up Gregory's testimony and see what he has to say about this. Because Gregory, if you read Gregory, you would think that he was like the closest guy ever to Cooper, and that he was sitting right next to Cooper and right across. Right. I mean, Gregory is testimony is kind of funny sometimes. So let's go. All right, let's zoom in on Gregory here. Share my screen again. Okay. Gregory says up here, he says, he was late and believes he was the last passenger to board the aircraft. He believed he had seat 18, which was an aisle seat on the port left side of the aircraft in the rear. Now, he can't have seat 18, right? Because Bill is in row 18. We know Bill was in row 18. That's a fact. Okay. So that is incorrect. Perhaps his, and being an older man, maybe he thought 15 or 13 versus 18. I don't know. But if we go back to his testimony, he says, let's try and find this. Okay. After the aircraft landed, the passengers in the rear of the aircraft were told to move forward. But since Mr. Gregory was already forward of the above man, he stayed in his seat. Mr. Gregory said he was the closest person to this man except for the stewardess. Now, a lot of us have read that, just flippantly read that, and have Gregory saying that he was the closest person to Cooper. And yeah, he probably would have been the closest person to Cooper after the passengers moved up, which is, I guess, what he's saying. Remember, these 302s are written kind of wonky. And so I think what Gregory is saying is he was the closest person to Cooper at the time that they landed or when the passengers were moved up. So Gregory was not moved up. We know that Gregory was not moved up. But if he was the closest man to Cooper after they were moved up, where was he sitting? Now, if we look at Florence Schaffner's testimony, okay, Flo says that she was sent. It might be Tina actually who says this, but Flo says, where does it say? Okay. Well, regardless, sorry. That must have been, that must be in Tina's testimony. There, okay, yeah, it is. Okay, let me pull this up. Yeah, right here. It says, Stewardess Florence Schaffner stood at row 15 in the middle of the aisle to be certain that no one came aft, which is backwards. Okay, so yeah, Captain Scott told her to go stand basically back there, and she stood at row 15, which indicates that nobody is going to be behind her, right? So row 15 is probably the cutoff of where the passengers, anybody behind row 15 was probably moved up, right? So let's move Flo down here and have her stand. Again, we don't know if she's standing behind row 15 or at row 15. I'm just going to assume that she's at row 15 for now. Okay. That's what I'm going to do. I'll figure out where. Okay. So now let's look at some of the other passengers and what they had to say about where they were sitting. So George Lebissoniere says in his testimony that, let's see, where does he say? He has his seat somewhere in here. Okay. Wait, that's his seat. Okay. Lebissoniere, he says he was seated about 6 rows in front of the aircraft. 6 rows in front of the hijacker. Now, this is a numbers thing, right? When we say 6 rows, are you saying like, are you counting row 18 when you say 6 rows? Like, so, or is it 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12? So I'm going to put him at 12 because 6 rows. Well, I don't know. What do you guys think? If you said I'm sitting 6 rows in front of a guy in 18, I mean, are you going to, are you counting 18? Like 18, 17, 16, 15, 14? let's see, 18, 16. So if you were counting the row, if you were counting row 18 and you said, I'm 6 rows in front of the hijacker. So if you're counting row 18, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that puts you in 13. But are you 6 rows in front of the hijacker? Like, so how would I say that? I'd probably say I would include his row, I would think, right? If I'm 6 rows in front of somebody, my brain is probably going to include their row. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's put Le Bissonnière in 13. Did he say what side he was on? Let's see. He said, okay, he was seated about 6 rows in front. We don't know what side of the plane he's on. Yeah. So we'll put him in 13. Now, Le Bissonnière, where is he? Where's George? There he is. Okay, we're going to put him, I don't know. We're just going to invent something for him, but we're going to say he's in row 13. We're going to put him there. Now, he was traveling. He was a lawyer. He had gone to a deposition with his client, who is a trucking magnate named Lester Pollard. Okay, we'll grab Lester up here. And I don't know, men probably don't want to, I mean, again, there was a lot of space in that plane. I'm not sitting next to a guy if I don't have to, but I'm going to put Lester in the same row as him. Actually, I'm going to swap Lester because Le Bissonnière had to go pee constantly, he said. So if I'm Lester, I'm tired of getting him going past me. So I bet Lester had the window seat. Let's just say that. So, but Lester and Le Bissonnière almost certainly would have been on the same row, don't you think? I mean, because they traveled together down there. They flew down there that morning, actually, and were flying back. So my guess is that they were on the same row. Okay. But I'm not sure about that. I'm just going to guess that. Now, let's go back to, let's find Nancy House. Let's pull up Nancy House. Okay, Nancy, she says she was sitting on the plane 3 seats in front of the hijacker on the right side of the plane. So she doesn't say anything about being moved forward, I don't believe. Yeah, I don't see anything about her saying that she was moved forward. So she says she was 3 rows in front of the hijacker. We're going to continue to do the thing where you count the seat the hijacker's in, right? So that puts her in row 15, actually. All right. And she says she was on the same side. Did she say what? She just said, what did she say? The right side of the plane looking forward. So she didn't say, so she's talking about on Cooper's side, the right side looking forward. So starboard side. Okay. So we're going to go back here. We're going to grab Nancy. Where's Nancy? There she is. Okay. We're going to put Nancy in row 15. So that way I'm going to assume that Flo is standing behind row 15. If Nancy's not moved up, then there. Now, what's interesting is we go back to Gregory. Let's go back to Gregory real quick. Gregory says nobody moved forward, yada, yada, yada. And he says, did he say, he didn't say, he says row 18. So like, but he's not row 18. Okay. So, I mean, maybe 15 looked like 18 to him. I don't know. But what's interesting, though, is that he claims that a stewardess told him, do not look at the man. Okay. He says that essentially it would have been when he got up to leave the plane. He says, because in one of his testimonies, he says that as he rose to leave the plane and was getting his coat, putting his coat on or something, he looked back and saw the hijacker, and one of these stewardesses essentially admonished him and said, hey, don't look at him. Which I suspect that's Flo, obviously, saying that, right? So, did Le Bissonnière, I mean, did he say that he was in the aisle, or what did he say? Aisle seat, okay. So, I'm willing to put Gregory in row 15. That's what I'm willing to do. No, Ollie, this is not in a 302. I mean, they didn't, most of the passengers' testimonies, all they say is I was in the tourist section, or I was in first class. Okay. So Robert Gregory is going to be, I'm going to put Robert Gregory right there in the aisle seat. All right. Now, what's interesting is Nancy must have, Nancy says that she saw Cooper coming out of the bathroom. When she saw Cooper coming out of the bathroom and returned to his seat. So she was standing up at that time. I guess maybe she was in the aisle getting ready to leave the plane. Well, I don't know, though. No, that can't be right. The passengers weren't allowed to leave the plane until Cooper got his money, right? So how would Nancy have seen him going to the bathroom unless she was standing up for some reason? I mean, maybe she was moved forward, but she doesn't say that, though. Maybe that was in the process of being moved forward. I don't know. But let me just, we'll just dispense of some other stuff real quick. So we have here, thanks to Marty Andrade, he got the names of, I guess it was the University of Minneapolis or somewhere, and he got a lot of this paperwork. Okay. So these are the passengers who boarded in Great Falls. So Klopfer, Mickelson, Murphy, and Rice are going to be in first class. So let's find those guys and just throw them somewhere in first class because we don't care about them really. So Klopfer, where's Dennis? There's Dennis Mickelson. We'll put him there. Not the cowboy, but Daniel Rice had a cowboy hat on. Daniel Rice is going to be there. And is Murphy, Murphy's the guy who said, I didn't see a damn thing. There's Murphy, William J. Murphy. Okay. So those guys were in first class. Now, that document also says the Cummingses boarded in Great Falls, okay? But they had a tourist section. Now, obviously, the Cummingses were a family. They had their teenage son there. This is the cowboy, by the way. Robert Cummings is the cowboy. So they're not going to be separated. And we know that they weren't moved up, okay? So we're just going to throw them somewhere. We'll put them in row 10 or something. Okay, so they're not going to be the ones who are moved up because they didn't mention anything. Now the Simmonses, if we look at Richard Simmons's 302 here, it doesn't say, again, I don't know why this is redacted. I have no idea why Richard Simmons and Barbara Simmons' seat numbers would be redacted. Although actually maybe it's not. Maybe their seat numbers aren't redacted. I think what's redacted is right here. It probably says he advised that he was seated in the coach section, probably along with his wife, Barbara, something like that, right? Okay. Said he was aware. So he says, at that time, he noticed someone talking to the stewardess and saw her get a funny expression on her face. Okay. Now he's talking about seeing her on the phone. Okay. And he says that he saw, he says he saw Alice Hancock receive the call. Well, she didn't receive the call. Alice Hancock called to the front to say, hey, do you guys want coffee or whatever? And the pilot said, hey, we're being hijacked. That's when she found out. So the Simmonses, Alice was a first-class stewardess. Okay. So I don't know where the phone was. Somewhere in the galley around this area somewhere, right, would be a phone. Now, Alice is first class, but the Simmonses weren't sitting in first class. So for the Simmonses to see her on a call, I don't know. They're somewhere up here at the front we'll put them in row. I don't know. Let's say Alice is over here on the phone, when they see her. So when the hijacking began, so they're not moved up. So they're near the front. Okay. So Alice was on a phone back here when they saw her. So obviously they weren't sitting too far back because she's a first class stewardess. Alice would not have been on a phone. The only phone she would have been on was the galley phone. Okay. But they saw her. Okay. So Simmonses. Now Larry Feingold right here. We know that Larry Feingold was sitting up front somewhere because Michael Cooper sat next to him. Michael Cooper says that when he moved up, he sat next to the prosecuting attorney and the U.S. attorney or assistant U.S. attorney, which was Larry Feingold. So we know that Feingold was up near the front because Michael Cooper came up to sit near him, right? Now, let's look at some other people. So the GSA guys, there were 4 of these guys on the plane. But let me go back to our little chart here. This right here, this might be let me see if this is something. Okay, here we go. This is boarded in Missoula. Okay. Let's find the first class tickets so we can get rid of them. Okay. The first class tickets for Missoula, uh, Helen Connors, Levon Conley, and Roy Close. Okay. So let's put them in first class. Was it Close is in first class? We know Levon's in first class. Miss Connors is in first class. And who was the other one? I've already forgotten. Conley, Connors, Conley, Close. Is that it? Okay, so I guess that's it for Missoula. Okay. Now, the GSA guys, that's the Government Services Administration or Government Systems. I don't know, Government Services. I don't know, GSA. Anyway, there were 4 of those guys, and you can see them on here. Street, Donahue, Anvik, and Truitt. These are the older guys. So none of them said anything about the hijacking. They had nothing to say to anybody. So, but they had tourist seats. Okay. So we're just going to spread them out. You know, again, they're going to be sitting close together probably because they boarded close together. So these are older, wiser men. So they're going to take exit rows, which is what I would do. We call that poor man's first class, right? You live long enough, you get poor man's first class, you figure it out. So that's my guess, is that they had poor man's first class. Just my guess. But I mean, I don't know where they sat, but they didn't sit back there because they weren't moved up and they didn't notice anything happening. But they were probably going to be sitting together roughly because they are all boarded together in Missoula. All right. So now let's look at the McPhersons. I believe, gosh, is this the, okay. PDX passengers. Okay. The rest of those guys, there's some stuff there that's wrong. I mean, we don't need that. Let's go back to this. Okay. We've kind of figured all this out. Okay. Now I got to figure out some stuff. Spreckle. Let's figure out Spreckle. Spreckle says, where is Spreckle? Cord Spreckle. There we go. Okay. Spreckle says he sat on the left-hand side of the plane, that's port, in the row of seats second from the rear of the plane. So that's going to be 17, right? I mean, if you say you're second, if you say I'm second from the rear, right? I mean, you're talking about the rear seat or the rear of the plane? I mean, what do y'all think? I think, Spreckle seemed to like overhear some things too. So I feel like Spreckle is either going to be obviously in, because and we know Spreckle's moved up. I think Spreckle's in 17. I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, he's German, so maybe he's language, but again, it's 302s. Let's look at that again. If you were giving testimony and you said that you were in the row of seats second from the rear, so Tim is saying first from the rear is 17. Yeah. You know, and we know Michael Cooper was in 17. So if you can't, I mean, if you could help it, you're probably not going to sit on the same row of seats with somebody if there's empty rows, right? And now Cooper was already on board too. Spreckle boards in Portland. So Spreckle boards in Portland. Michael Cooper's already sitting in the window seat there. I don't know. I'm probably going to he probably sat in the aisle seat 16, maybe. But Spreckle, I don't know. I'm going to put him in there. I don't know. What do you guys think? You say, Mary says first from rear is 18. Okay. Pogo Dino says first from the rear equals the first row starting from back the rear of the plane. So 18. Second from the rear is 17. Yeah. I would say second from the rear is 17. Second from back. I mean, I'm counting, like whenever I'm like, when you count the number, right? You don't say like, well, wait, maybe I'm wrong. What do you, I mean, in German, how was that? What's that? I forget what, have I ever been to a carnival? Yes, I've been to a carnival. Carnival? Why, Matt? So Okay. I don't know though. Spreckle though. Let's look at Spreckle's testimony. Spreckle said that while in flight, the pilot made several announcements that they were experiencing mechanical difficulty. He said that he was suspicious when the plane began circling over Seattle for 2 hours. He said that during this time, the blonde stewardess who was seated next to the hijacker made numerous calls from the rear of the plane. Okay. He said that during the period when the plane was circling Seattle, he left his seat and moved to a seat several rows forward. Now, that's going to be, unless he got up and moved before. I mean, maybe she didn't have to move Spreckle, but I feel like this is Spreckle being moved forward. Okay. So either way, Spreckle. I mean, Spreckle's pretty observant here. I mean, look at this. Spreckle says that after he first was aware of the problem after 10 minutes of takeoff, he said that at that time a dark-haired stewardess came from the front of the plane and handed a note to a blonde stewardess. That is the return of the note. So that's pretty cool. Spreckle saw, and then he said that the dark-haired stewardess then returned to the front of the plane. So that is, he is witnessing Flo bringing back the notes that Cooper requested, right? Pretty cool. Okay. Google says first from the rear means the person or thing that is in the very last position in a line or group, but it is considered first when counting from backwards. Yeah. So it's Weiter von Hinten. Yeah, that's exactly, Aaron. So yeah, I feel like, yeah, I think it's 17. Like I really do, because I mean, he's pretty observant, right? I mean, he saw Flo give Tina a note. I mean, if you're 2 rows in front, I mean, if that's happening, like, you know, I mean, for those who are on that 727, it's small. I mean, if that's happening right here, like where my hand is almost, like I'm going to notice that. I mean, Flo's butt was probably right there, right? Hey, Tina. So, I mean, Flo's probably standing right there when she's, I mean, if Cooper's right there, then, you know, so yeah. So I'm going with Cord going to be in 17. That's what I'm going to do. Yes. Midday stream on a Sunday is interesting. I agree. But hey, man, we have a lot of people in Europe who don't get to participate on these things. So figure out, do that for them. How does this help us solve the mystery of Tina Barr? I don't know. This is like, I'm a historian. Okay. I'm a historian. I just want to do this for history. Let me get a drink. Okay. So let me move these guys down so we can get a better picture. Hello from the GR. What is GR? Is it Greece? Great. What would GR? Germany? What is GR? Greenland? Okay. We're gonna move this. We're gonna move these remaining folk. Greece. Ah, okay, cool. Emas Cthulhu, man. Go Cubs. Okay. I know, not Germany. Greece Lightning. Okay. So, hi, Ray Donovan from Ireland. Hi. Okay. So these are the guys. So now I don't think it was McPherson's. But for some reason, I feel like that. Let me do this. Let me pull up Bruce's book, because I feel like the McPhersons were in first class. That's my belief on it. So I got Bruce's book up. I'm gonna type in Scott. I'm not sure how. Oh, does he not have? Does Bruce not have McPherson's? What? I swear that Bruce, in his book, talked to the McPhersons. Does he not? Where? Okay, well, gosh, I guess I'm wrong. Well, who did? Was it Jeffrey? Did he talk to them? Let me see. Scott. Because Scott's gonna come up a lot. Okay. Isn't the name Scotty McPherson? Weird. Okay, I swear that Bruce talked to one of the McPhersons. Let me try and type. Let me try and do this. Man, I mean, gosh, am I wrong? I swear he did. Okay. Okay. Okay, so Bruce had a seating chart. So yeah, okay. So Bruce said that he talked to some people, and where does he have the McPhersons sitting? Okay, sorry guys, I'm trying to get the here we go. Yeah, so Bruce has Spreckle in row 17 also. Okay, he says he talked to Jack Olmstead. Jack Olmstead was left side row 8. Okay, so row 8. Well, okay, so I'll move Feingold over here. But I'm gonna put Jack Olmstead in row 8 because that's what Bruce says when Bruce talked to him. So we'll put him there. All right. So let's go back. Let me read this again. Okay. And he's got Lebissonier and Pollard in row 12. He's got Feingold in 6A. Now, that could be true because remember the ones, yeah, I bet that's true. Okay, let me go back to that. I bet that's true because I'll move Helen over because the passengers in the back got to go forward to first class. Okay, that was like the deal. It's like, hey, you guys can move up to first class temporarily, right? So, yeah, Michael was going to, so we'll put Larry up there. So Larry's going to be in first class, actually. All right. I mean, oh yeah, and Larry was flying for the government. He had gone down to interview the San Francisco mayor and or to depose some corrupt San Francisco mayor or something. I don't know what was going on back then, but that's what was going on. Who else do we have? Okay, so he says the McPhersons are in 2A and 2B. This is Bruce talking to Scotty McPherson. I knew that was right. So we'll go back to there. So we're going to move the McPhersons into 2A and 2B, which is sad because they were flying with Paul Weitzel down here, who was part of their company, but I guess they didn't want to give him, I mean, maybe he sat in first class too. I don't know, but I said that's a maybe. Okay. All right. Let me go back to Bruce here. Okay. He has the Simmonses. That can't be right. I mean, I don't think, no, that can't be right. He has the Simmonses in row 6, but that's not right. Yeah. That's just his guesstimating because I don't think he ever talked to the Simmonses. That's him guessing like me, but they weren't sitting in first class, so I'm not sure if Bruce had a layout of the plane like I do. Okay. Packer says, do we know if Cooper spilled his drink into the aisle or onto 17 in front of him, possibly to assure that nobody sat in 17 on his side? No, I think that would have been, I think the stewardesses would have known, they would have assisted him. If he had spilled on a seat, I think the stewardesses would have known, right? That's why I think that Cooper only spilled his ice, because you can, pick up your ice. So if you spill your ice on your fold down tray, that's easy to pick up. So who are the 5 who were moved up? We've got these guys left. These are the ones who we don't know where they're sitting. Okay. And I think that Tina says, if I look at, so we know that Nancy wasn't moved up, or Gregory. So like I said, I think they're in row 15. So who else was sitting back here? All right. Possibly Menendez. Now I have found his 302. I've identified, it's redacted, but it only works for him. Okay. Because the size of the name only works for Menendez. Okay. So he says he advised that he boarded the plane at Portland, Oregon, and was the 3rd or 4th person to board the plane at Portland, and was the last 3rd or 4th. He advised that he sat in the coach section in the tail end of the plane during the flight from Portland to Washington. He was unaware of the hijacking. He saw nothing that would lead him to believe that a hijacking was in progress. So, I mean, if he's one of the last to board, right, then it's possible that he's a good candidate, I think, right? If he's one of the last to board there. But wouldn't being moved up make you think something's going on? Although I guess Bill says that Bill didn't know why they asked him to move up. He didn't assume that it was a hijacking going on. So he just, in fact, I don't know if Bill even says in his testimony, I don't think Bill does. I don't think Bill mentions in his testimony being moved up at all. I mean, he did. We know Bill moved up because he didn't want to move up. He didn't move up at first. He told Tina to get lost, I guess. He was mad at her for doing this. But no, Bill rebuffed the first efforts to have him go away. So he said a dark-headed stewardess came back and really gave him a look that was like, "Hey, please move up." And that would have been Flo Schaffner. So Flo, our half Filipino, had Bill move up. Let me see what Bill says about moving up, if anything. Yeah. Bill doesn't say anything about moving up. All right. So, no. All right. So back to this. Yeah, Mary. Bill's 302 is surprisingly brief for being a guy who was, especially being a guy who was one of the last to be interviewed, right? If we think about it, why is Bill's 302 so short? Because, Bill had to leave. Bill was like among the last passengers to leave because there was a throng of media that he had to get through. So they kept Bill for a while. And if you listen to Bill Mitchell talk, he says that as soon as he was like, "Oh yeah, I was sitting in the last row," or whatever, all the FBI guys just swarmed him. So yeah, his 302 is very, very short for that. So let's go back to our map here. So these guys, McDonald's, let's just assume something. I don't think you're going to sit in the back of the plane if you're one of the first to board. Okay. Now Keats here, this fella Keats was the very first passenger on the plane. He had the plane to himself, actually. He had the plane. He's the only passenger who boarded in Minneapolis. So he was alone until they landed in, I guess, I get him. I don't know if Missoula or Great Falls was the next, but he was there. And we actually have his 302. I figured out his is easy to spot, even though it's redacted, because he says that, and it's short too. You can see Keats. Keats advised that he boarded the flight at Minneapolis, Minnesota, where he was blah, 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 blah. He advised that he sat in the tourist section of the airplane, but could not remember the exact seat number. He advised that he was totally unaware of any hijacking and saw nothing, which would have him led to believe that hijacking was taking place. He learned of it after they landed and could provide no further detail. So he's from Wisconsin. There you go, Packer. There's your Wisconsin doctor. I think he was a doctor, or a young, maybe like a resident or something. Okay, so Keats, I mean, if you board early, you're not, I mean, you're probably going to not, I mean, I don't think the back of the plane is anybody's preference, right? I mean, nobody wants to be near the toilets in case somebody has a major accident in a toilet, right? You don't want to be near that. So I don't think Keats, I'm going to put Keats somewhere up here. I don't think Keats. All right. So we have, this is who's left. Minch, Mary, the passenger 302s are at the start of, oh Lord. I wish a lot of them are at the start of Vault 22, I think. So I think they're in the very first pages of Vault of Vault 22, Mary, are the passengers. And if we look at yeah, most of the passenger 302s, I compiled all of them in this little thing here. Yeah. Yeah, I got basically, if you look at the passenger 302s, they're all just very, almost all of them are just saying like, I didn't know anything was going on. This is somebody who boarded in Portland, female. That's going to be, this is going to be Barbara Simmons right here. This is going to be Keats. This guy boarded in Spokane and was seated in the coach section. Our Spokane flyers are going to be the McPhersons and Wesley Jensen and Weitzel. Okay, so this is unfortunate. See, like they redacted this guy's seat number. Like, why? Like, why would you do that? But I think that this is going to be Wesley Jensen, though, because Weitzel was with the McPhersons and Jensen was living in Seattle at the time. I think that the McPhersons and Weitzel, I think they were from Spokane. So I think this is going to be Jensen's actually, but he just says he was in the coach section. So I mean, we know Jensen's in coach, but where though, right? All right. So let me go back to this. That's Jensen. This is Menendez again. This is just a passenger list. These are the ones who boarded in Portland. All right. So we know that Carrata. So of the ones who are remaining, of the ones that are remaining, all of these except I think McDonald is not a Portland guy. Okay, no, I'm wrong. McDonald did board in Portland. So all of these guys, all these remaining guys, Carrata, Warrenstaff, Minch, these are all Portland guys. Okay, so which means that they're probably, if they had a choice, they probably had to sit in the back of the plane. So Menendez being the third, so it's going to be one of these guys. So if 5 passengers moved up, we've got Michael Cooper, Spreckle, and Mitchell. Nancy and Gregory didn't move up. So it's going to be probably one of these guys. So one of these 5 guys. And there's just nothing to indicate, nothing's going to help us out, I don't think. I don't think anywhere else. Yeah, like, I mean, what is this? Why would they redact where I was seated? And sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, right? Some of the redactions say row 15, whatever, and some don't. That just seems inconsistent. See, most of these are going to be saying, this guy paid no attention to the hijacker. I didn't know a hijacking was in progress. This guy says, I wonder if this is Cummings, actually. Let me count this. Cummin. Nope, that doesn't count. Okay. I was thinking this might be Cummings here. This guy right here who says Montana. He says he only noticed the stewardess was sitting in the back with a man with large dark glasses and dark hair. So, yes, how many letters is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 letters. 6 letters in Montana. We don't have a bigger 302 on. 6 letters, Montana. All right, let me try it. So it's not the GSA guys. So it's not, okay, so let me look at this. So people boarded in Montana. Anvik GSA, not him. Klaus is in first class, not him. This is a guy, so it's not Levon, not Connors. We have her. Not Mike Cooper. He has a bigger one. Not Donahue GSA. Not Klopfer. Well, I mean, obviously it's 6 letters. So who Montana boarded 6 letters? Murphy had a first class ticket, not him. I mean, it could have been, I feel like the GSA guys, I mean, I guess he doesn't say where he's from, does he? It just says Montana. Maybe he's saying he boarded in Montana. No. Boarded the flight at blank. So what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is Missoula 8? How many letters? This is what you do. I mean, this is a deep dive. If people are watching, this is how you Cooper sleuth, right? So looking for 8. Is Missoula 8 letters? 1, 2. Yeah, okay. So whoever this guy was, he boarded in Missoula. All right. This guy boarded in Missoula and is from Montana. So who boarded in Missoula? It's going to be Michael Cooper. Like, I don't think that's Mike Cooper's, though, because I feel like, hell, that could be Michael Cooper. No, it's not. No, it's not. Because Michael has a bigger 302 where he talks about what he was up to. So no, this must be one of the, I mean, Street's the only one. Street, but I just don't. Street may not have been a GSA guy. I feel like he was, but wait, not that one. I don't know. I'm trying to think if there's any way to see. Oh, yep. Okay. All right. Check this out. Okay. Yep. So Street, that's going to be Street then. That's going to be Street because look at this right here. Look at what it says here. Look at these numbers here. I don't know what these numbers mean, but Donahue, Anvik, and Truitt all have the same numbers. So that tells me that, wait, and so does Street. Okay, so Street, Anvik, damn it. I was wrong. Okay, damn it. So yeah, Street, Donahue, Anvik. So obviously they're government agents. These were guys working for the government. They're all going to be on the same purchase ticket, right? So like for whatever reason, I guess maybe it was the government credit card or whatever. But so yeah, Street was, I mean, I guess it could be Street, but I don't think that Street came from, I just don't think Street lived in Montana. I don't think any of the GSA guys did. I don't know. But this is 6 letters. And all we have for 6 letters for Missoula is what? Close. But again, I don't know why he would have noticed Tina. He's in first class. This is a guy. Donahue's not 6. Yeah, I mean, it's got to be Street or Michael Cooper. But like I said, I just don't think it's Michael Cooper because unless it's redundant, because we do have a longer Michael Cooper. There is a longer Michael Cooper. Anyway, I don't know. Who else we have? And see, like this is all, we couldn't provide any information, yada, yada, yada. No information. It's funny. It says boarded in Eugene, Oregon. Well, nobody boarded that plane in Eugene, Oregon. That's somebody probably talking about Bill Mitchell. Like not, he came from Eugene. He slept all the way from Portland to Seattle. I got sleepy. Whoever this guy was. This is Simmons here. Okay, so this is this is Michael Cooper's 302. I'm pretty sure what I'm looking at right here. Now, Mary, this is Mike's from the day. Yeah, this is Michael Cooper because he's talking about he was just passing through Seattle and would return to Missoula within the week because Michael went to go Michael went to go pick up a car from his sister in Seattle. So that's what he was there for. That's why he's saying I'll return within the week to Seattle. So no. Anyway, so Minch is quoted. So Pat Minch is quoted somewhere in a newspaper article. And let me try to find him. I don't think he says anything of interest though. Minch, November 1971. Okay. Yeah. This is all he said. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, there you go. Pat Minch just says, the crew just said something might be wrong with the plane. Pat Minch of Anchorage, Alaska said in Seattle. And Robert Gregory, there's nothing unusual about him. He is middle-aged and was wearing dark glasses. So, I don't know what car it was, Packer. I don't know if it was a Volkswagen. I actually don't know that. But, so, it's one of these guys. So there we go. In real time, I figured out that it's, because I don't think it's Jensen though, because he boarded in Spokane, and I don't know why you would sit. Why would you, I mean, would any of you intentionally sit that close to two bathrooms if you didn't have a choice? I don't think so. So, but Menendez though, he's a good one here. Menendez says that he was the third or fourth last to board the plane. So I think he's a good candidate here. These guys, I don't know, but these are all Portland guys. So Tina said she moved 5 people up. So we know Spreckle, we know Cooper, we know Mitchell. So the 2 people who are moved up, again, this is like, it doesn't make a difference at all, but I'm a historian of this case and I just want to, it's just fun to kind of figure it out. But that's kind of where we are. So let me zoom out. Let me look at the big picture here and make sure I didn't forget anybody. Oh, this is Bill Mitchell, by the way. Ryan, thank you, Bill, for watching. Ryan, the reason I sat in the back was it was the first seat open and it was only a 37-minute flight. Get on and get off quickly. Okay. Well, there you go. So thank you, Bill, for our insight. Yeah, this guy says, I sit as close to the exit as possible and always near an aisle seat. Sure, the windows are lovely, but I want to be off. Yeah, I always choose an aisle seat in case you have to go to the bathroom. I don't like inconveniencing people, trying to squeeze past people. I'd rather be inconvenienced than inconvenience people. But thank you, Bill, for chiming in. Yeah, isn't this crazy, Bill? We're a bunch of nutheads. Look at us acting like fools, trying to figure this out. But yeah, so Bill, now, Bill's in the chat. So yeah, so where this all started, right, was we're trying to figure out who the obnoxious drunk was. Bill said it was a guy who was an elderly man sitting in the row in front of him. Well, Bill, that's obviously the row in front of you was Cooper and Spreckle here. But obviously the row in front of you, 50 years, as you say, Bill, a lot of things go, but he was in front of you is what you remember. It was a guy in front of you. But so the question is, it may have been this guy, may have been Warnstaff. I don't know. This guy looks kind of beat up. Could have been, but you said he was elderly though. So maybe Clifford McDonald was the obnoxious drunk. Because I don't know. But Lebissonier and then Gregory. You said he was elderly. Now, I mean, again, Bill, these guys, Lebissonier, Warnstaff, those guys are in their 50s. Like, that'd be your father's age, right? At this time. You would not refer to somebody your father's age as elderly, I wouldn't think. Now, McDonald, though, so Gregory was 71 at the time. And McDonald, I believe, let me find out, Clifford was pretty old too. Or older than everybody else. I guess not as old, but yeah, Clifford was 66 at the time. So, wait, no. He was Clifford McDonald was 56 at the time. 56. Yeah, 56. So, yeah. What is elderly to Bill Mitchell in 1971, right? I mean, 71 and would certainly, it's elderly now, but I mean, these days, I don't know, 71 is kind of Sprite. Bill, you're 70, what, 3 right now or so? And you still move around pretty well. You still look good. So, but you called him an elderly man. I don't know if you'd call yourself elderly these days, but I mean, Lebissonier is only 50 years old at the time. I'm not sure if he's elderly. Gregory's elderly. And I doubt it was, I mean, this little Japanese guy, I don't know. I don't know about that. So who was elderly to you in 71? Gregory? But so we know Gregory was near you. We do know that for a fact. So the only elderly person I know of who was near you is Gregory. That's why I think it's Gregory. But, Gregory well, his testimony is kind of all over the place a little bit. Sometimes he's wrong on things and sometimes he's not. I mean, Gregory gets style points because he's the only passenger who noticed that Cooper had a brown suit on, other than Tina. Okay, and I believe Tina because Tina had 5 hours to sit there and look at his clothes. So Tina said he had a brown suit with a black overcoat on. And Gregory said his suit was brown. But what's interesting is Gregory mentions, I mean, let's look at Gregory's testimony. I mean, this is like silly almost. It's so detailed. I mean, look at the clothing here. Reddish brown suit coat with wide lapels. Color was unusual, more of a russet color. Light or neutral colored shirt, contrasting necktie, medium to dark color. Other items of clothing unknown. So, like, that's a really detailed description, right? But why does other items of clothing unknown? But why does he not mention the overcoat? He goes into all this detail about this stuff and doesn't mention the overcoat. It's kind of weird. I mean, Gregory gives this really detailed description, but he gets some things wrong. He says Cooper was in the window seat. Well, Cooper, I'll keep my mouth shut about that. But this is a good point, Packer. That's a fair point to you, Packer. What may matter, Ryan, is the recent discussion of minute facial details of persons of interest like Hall with high-res close pics. It would be difficult for anyone more than a few feet away to see a pinhead mark. Yeah, a little freckle. Yeah, I know. And if Tina's not really staring at him too much, maybe she wouldn't notice it either. I don't know. Yeah, Mary, exactly what I said. This is what I said to Flyjack about this. How do you see wide lapels on a suit jacket under an overcoat? You don't. I mean, especially when you're slumping. Like, I don't know, maybe his coat was open when he slumped. I don't know. Something's off. Something's off. I don't know. Something just seems off. But the problem is that Gregory's testimony is otherwise fits with everybody else's. This whole thing about the hair having a slight part and slightly receding, kind of greasy hair. I mean, that fits with what we think, and we look at the suspects who Gregory liked, guys like Catalano, or he liked John List's face. That fits with what we believe of Cooper. He had gray hair, I think a little guy, pretty drunk. Yep. Little guy, pretty drunk. I remember when we got on the bus to ride to the terminal, he mentioned that the FBI, they needed to go to the bathroom. A little guy. Well, Gregory's not little. In fact, let me pull this up. Let me do this. Let's look at our video here of our passengers. Let's look at our video of our passengers and see who was small with gray hair, who looked older. Okay, here we go. All right, I'm going to do this. All right, so we're looking at this. Okay, there's Klaus. It's none of these guys. These were the first class guys. There's Olmsted, who is an older guy. Here comes Lebissonier. He's tall. Okay, and there's Pollard. There's Pollard there, the business guy. He's not too tall. Not Jensen. He's tall. So here comes Bill. So all these guys are taller than you, Bill. So maybe it's this guy behind you. Was it the Japanese guy there? I mean, I'm gonna put on I'm gonna do a marker here. You can't see my marker. I'll put a little marker here where Bill's head is. Let me see how tall Robert Gregory is. We'll see if I can do that. He's shorter than you, Bill. Gregory's definitely shorter than you. But this guy here, was it this guy here? Was it Warnstaff? No. What do you mean no? You're saying no to, Bill's saying no. Don't think it's this guy, or you don't think it's this guy here, Gregory? I guess you're saying no to the Japanese guy. Yeah. So, and it seems like that you guys got off the bus kind of, because everybody's kind of with who they're supposed to be when they get off the bus. All the GSA guys are together. The families are together. It says no to the Japanese. Yeah, the families are together. The GSA people are together. Here comes McPherson's and Paul Weitzel, their buddy. There's Mint. Here comes Minch. Here comes the Simmonses. Here comes the 4 GSA guys. And then here comes the Cummingses. So everybody's kind of who they're supposed to be with. So, or who they were near. Yeah. So it stands to reason that, Bill, you might have been in line or on the bus near the drunk, right? So it's probably, he had a hat on. Okay. Hell, I wonder if it was the cowboy. Okay, now we're, oh, geez, maybe it was the cowboy. Maybe we're back to the obnoxious drunk being the cowboy, Bill. Okay. I bet it must have been Robert, but Robert Cummings, I don't like Robert Cummings being the guy. Here comes Bill. There's Robert Cummings right there. Gray hair, older, but not too old. He was in his late 50s, I guess. So maybe it's him. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, Mary. I mean, are we back to because the cowboy was Robert Cummings. There's only 2 people with cowboy hats, Daniel Rice and Cummings. And we know that Cummings, and we know that Daniel Rice was sitting in first class. You don't remember a cowboy hat. Well, I mean, is that really a cowboy hat, though? That's always been my problem. Well, that's a cowboy hat, isn't it? It's always the problem with my problem with the Cummings, with Cummings being the drunk. We know Cummings was the cowboy who messed with Tina Mucklow because he's only got the cowboy hat in the back of the plane or in the tourist section. But my hesitancy is, would he get raging drunk with his teenage with his teenage son with him and his wife? his little wife there, you know. I don't think he'd be the obnoxious drunk. So let's go back. Don't think it was. Remember Murphy? This guy here, Murphy, had a first class ticket. It wasn't him. Okay. There's another cowboy hat. There's Daniel Rice, but not him. Now, nobody else is wearing hats other than the GSA guys. So maybe it was a GSA guy who was drunk. They had been on the plane. The GSA guys had been on the plane for quite a while. So let's look at the GSA guys. I mean, and they'd have been drinking on the government dole, I think. Here come the GSA guys. Is that guy there not wearing a hat? He's the second oldest guy. Donahue's he's like 68 or so. He's not wearing a hat, but doesn't mean he doesn't have a hat, right? He could be carrying it in his hand, right? Some guys take their hats off when they come indoors. There's a little hat. Was it Street? Maybe it was this fella. Maybe this guy's the drunk. I mean, that guy's old with gray hair. Looks old. He looks older than 56. There's this guy chewing gum. Probably not him. So, there's you again. Not the Japanese guy, not this guy. Can't tell what Gregory's got in his hand. So, but Gregory gives such a detailed description. I just don't know. Yeah, Jude is saying, my dad got drunk on many flights on family holidays. Many times. A drunk dad on a family flight isn't odd to me at all. Especially when delayed and alcohol was free on a 305. Sorry, I'm trying to do your accent there, Jude. So yeah. Gregory is not, he could have a hat in his hand, but I said his you know, and Flyjack did bring up a good point is, I mean, I guess he probably wasn't still drunk though when he was on the plane or when he was being interviewed by the FBI. I mean, they shut off drinks for quite a while. Man, Labissiniere, that guy right here though. You know, look at his hair. His hair is disheveled. So he either was like, look at his hair is all messed up here. So, and Labissiniere was an attorney, right? Who had DUIs on his record. So, but doesn't look too small though. He does look drunk. That's what I've always felt, Tim. That's why I've always felt Labissiniere was probably the drunk. Because he has DUIs on his record. And he's a lawyer. And like I said, lawyers drink. He was returning from a deposition. Tim says he's an expert in being drunk. Is that right? Hi, I could be next in line for the Lucky Charms commercial. Yes, so Labissiniere could have been wearing a hat. But it seems a little ugly ass tie, I know. Hats seem generational though, right? Like, it seems like the older guys are all wearing them. But see, Gregory's not wearing it. Where's Gregory's hat? Gregory's 71 here. This is a guy who was like in his 30s in the 1930s. This guy should be wearing a hat. Maybe he's got a hat in his hand and took it off when he walked indoors. Because you're supposed to take your hat off when you walk indoors, right? But why aren't the older guys doing that? I don't know. I mean, who looks drunk? I mean, this guy looks alert. I mean, the only guy who looks like that guy looks tipsy. But these are GSA guys. They were on a government. I mean, I don't know if government workers would be. I guess they could be getting drunk, but I don't know. Like, as a lawyer myself, look at Labissiniere back here. His hair is all crazy looking. Yeah, Larry Feingold is with us. And remember, Labissiniere, Labissiniere's 302 is pretty funky. If we look at Labissiniere's 302, it does seem like, I mean, like Labissiniere says that somewhere he says that He's talking about saving Tina from the cowboy. He has this like thing about saving Tina from the cowboy. The cowboy was hassling Tina for information about the mechanical difficulties and generally being a nuisance. So, I mean, I guess, I mean, you don't remember a cowboy hat on the drunk, but I mean, it could have been Cummings. The cowboy paid no notice of the hijacker and continued hassling Tina. Finally, Lebesnier talked the cowboy into going back. But like, look at what Lebesnier says, that Cooper's wearing a dark jacket like a blazer with a sporty vest underneath. What is it? I mean, maybe he thought maybe he thought the brown coat was a vest. I don't know. But Lebesnier says that he had to take frequent trips to the bathroom, though. I'm trying to remember where it says that. Somewhere it says Lebesnier. That must have been in one of his statements about the sketch. Oh, here it is. Here it is. It's here. It says he went to the restroom in the rear compartment several times. So is that a drunk who's having to relieve himself a bunch? La piss in the air. Well, Mary, he's saying that at one time he was blocked. He says Lebesnier was blocked by Tina at one point. He found himself blocked in the aisle when he came out of their bathroom wearing a cowboy hat. And he saves the day. Yeah, Tim, I agree with you. I mean, it does seem like that. The wee breaks and the false courage, like I talked the cowboy down, sounds like a drunk. I mean, it does sound like he's like, I saved the day. You know, I talked this guy back into going to his seat. Like, I don't know. But just this sporty vest thing bugs me. I don't like that. The Bissonier is also insistent that Cooper had a square head. Like he says his head was wide or had like a square chin or something like that. And that's just not consistent with anybody else. Or maybe that's, no, that's Spreckle says that actually, I think. So I don't know. Average facial features. Well, that's the name of the game, isn't it? I don't know. What do we think, guys? I mean, that's new, Bill. You saying that the guy had a hat on. I don't know, though. There's Le Bissonniere again. And let's jump to the cowboy. The cowboy just looks pissed, which is what he was, apparently. He was hassling Tina about the flight delay. And in my little mini movie, I have him saying, my family's been on this flight since Great Falls. There's the cowboy. He's looking all pissed off, doesn't he? Doesn't look so much drunk. He looks like a man who's walking with purpose. Doesn't he? Doesn't look too drunk. He's ready to get off the damn plane. But a small guy though. You know, Bill remembers him being a small guy, but again, Bill, you're a big guy though. Bill's saying, where is this video taken? I assume it was off the bus and going to the VIP room. Yep. He says the order of the lineup is just from standing out on the tarmac. Yeah, I guess so. People would be congregating with who they are relatives with, right? Well, there you are, Bill. It's interesting that I stopped it right on there. So Jude Feingold lives in Israel now. Yes, and he was the prosecutor on the Murphy case. You're correct. He was the Donald Sylvester Murphy case. But no, yeah, Bill, I'm looking at your height here. You're about 6'1" at the time, I think, right? I mean, Gregory is a good bit shorter than you. But, I mean, is he holding us? But I don't know. Gregory seems to remember a hell of a lot about the hijacking. I don't know if he's the drunk or not. I may have jumped the gun on that. But Bissonier, though, I don't know. See, a lot of these guys, it seems like the guys under like 55 are not wearing hats, right? Because that was kind of out of style by then. But these older guys, well, that guy is holding a hat in his hand. Look at that right there. That's a hat. So yeah, these older guys are all wearing hats. So the only older guy not wearing a hat at all. I mean, I mean, this is generational, right? Murphy is wearing a hat. This guy right here, Klopfer, he's still alive, by the way. But yeah, so all the guys, let me see. Let me look at their get these birth dates again for these guys. It seems like, is Gregory the only guy of his age who is even close to his age who's not wearing a hat? Let me see. Look at the ages of these people. Okay. Here, let's pull this up. Okay. So if you're born before 1920, hat, holding hat. McPherson's 1919. He's not wearing a hat. So, and Jensen's not wearing a hat either. This guy just died. Yeah, just a year ago, or in 2019. Yeah. So, yeah, where's Gregory's hat? You would think a guy who you would think a guy born in 1900 would be wearing a hat, right? That's what I would think. So maybe Gregory was wearing a hat. We didn't see it. Speaking of hats, you know how stupid the Colbert book is? Like the Colbert book about Cooper says Cooper had a hat. Yeah, Packer, I'm with you on this too. Yeah, I agree. I mean, like Le Bissonnier's hat, I think if Le Bissonnier had raised hair, it was from taking his hat off. I agree. This always happened to my dad and grandpas, and they would take their combs out right away and fix their hair. Yeah, I know. Like, it is funny in movies. You see like Elliot Ness take his hat off, and then their hair is perfect. But like, there's no way that's true. I mean, especially if you got pomade in your hair and stuff, right? Take your hat off, it's going to be all kind of messed up. So, yeah, Gregory and Le Bissonnier could have been carrying their hats. I don't know if I can get a better shot of those guys earlier, if I can see something. Can't see if they're, I mean, I can't see if, oh, bye, Bill. Adios. Hi, Laura. Thank you for John jumping in. Very cool. Very cool. Bye, Bill. I mean, hey, who would have thought we'd have Bill Mitchell himself jump in the chat? Very cool. Very cool. We just need one of the stews, man. Come on, Tina, Alice, Flo. Come on. I know for a fact that one of you watches. All right. Has seen some of my stuff. I know that. So don't be shy. Don't be shy. So where's Gregory? Let's see if we can see Gregory's hands when Gregory emerges. Here comes Gregory. Can't see his hands. Well, I don't pressure them. That's why they're not here. Where did Bruce get the idea that part of Cooper's suitcase was recovered? I don't know. I think that he talked to Dorwin Schroeder, and Schroeder said something to him about it. But that's not, I mean, Cooper's briefcase would not be anywhere near Tina Barr. I mean, Cooper did not jump with his briefcase. He had no reason to. So, yeah. Gosh. What are we thinking, folks? Yeah, I agree, Tim. As a bald man, he'd be wearing his hat. I mean, you would think. This guy's 71 years old in 1971. Like, nobody was, he did. Gosh, I wish, it's a shame that Bill can't remember. I mean, I'm not, it's not a shame, but I mean, it's interesting. Ryan, was he still sitting there the whole time when they got the money? If so, why didn't they try to sneak somebody on or maybe do something with him well, because he had a bomb. Remember? I mean, that's the threat of the bomb. It seems like when you study these hijackers, the ones who said they had a bomb, weren't messed with. Like the hijackers who only had pistols or some other threat, they got boarded and attacked. Having a bomb or claiming to have a bomb seemed to be the difference in whether you were successful or not. Do you think Bill could talk Tina into coming on? What's their relationship? They spoke once on the phone, but they don't have a relationship. I mean, I'm a historian of this case. I think Tina could come on here. I think I'll get Tina on here one day. I get some connections going. Anyway, yeah. So Bill says he's a little guy, but Bill thought Cooper was a little guy. I mean, maybe Bill thinks everybody's a little guy to him, except Larry Feingold. Look at Larry Feingold's tall. Look how much taller Larry Feingold is than Bill. He must be like 6'3" or something. Bill's a tall guy. Bill's my height. I'm 6'1". What's his face? Nyrop said he didn't want the hijacker confronted, but it was their call to do that. All right. So what are we thinking about here? You would argue that Gregory looked like he had hat head. I don't know if I can tell that, Ed. Well, I can see what you're saying. Maybe right around here. I mean, I don't know, it's hard to tell. I mean, that could be some matted hair down a little bit. It does kind of look like. Yeah, I see what you're thinking. I see what you're saying, Bill. It looks like a little. If he's wearing a hat outside, because they're outside maybe they're standing outside in the rain for 30, 40 minutes before the bus shows up. So, yeah, I do see what you're saying there. It does look a little matted down on the sides where a hat would go right there. Well, one of those old fedora type hats. I don't know. And I don't know. That does bug me that a guy his age would not be wearing a hat. I mean, even if he wasn't the drunk, Robert Gregory had a hat. Surely. I mean, a man of his age dare not step outside hatless. Okay, like they probably were told as children that like Satan would eat their soul if they ventured outside hatless once they turned 18 or something. Like those guys, seriously, look at any photograph before like 1950 or before 1940 at least. I think a lot of the guys coming back from World War II kind of relaxed on that. But you look up to 1940, man, men did not go outside hatless. Like they just didn't. I mean, look at any picture from New York City or something, of a huge crowd. Look at a baseball game or something. He does have a turkey gobble. That's for sure. Gobble gobbles. There's a lot of gobbles. Warrensteff has a really good gobble. Where's Warrensteff? All these guys have gobbles. No gobble. No gobble. No gobble. Yeah, they also removed their hats indoors, Mary. Yeah, I don't know. I guess the GSA guys just walked inside. Maybe they hadn't taken them off yet. There's a Menendez, man, with his Texas tie. He was from Miami, by the way. He was an oil and gas guy. He died just recently. Daniel Rice is still alive, who we thought was the Cowboy for a long time. But again, first-class ticket. You have a first-class ticket, there's no need to go back and hassle Tina. You'd be hassling Alice, right? Lebissoniere. I mean, I don't know, man. All I know is, as an attorney, I have done depositions with clients, and you will go out and have a celebratory drink if you're somewhere where you can do that. I mean, look at the faces. Look at Pollard's face and look at Lebissonniere's face. I mean, both those guys look a little like, of all the people on the plane, both those guys look a little like, I could see these two guys being drunk. Couldn't y'all? That, him and him. Like, I could see that. I always like Wesley Jensen smiling here. How cute, huh? Wesley Jensen, by the way. Where is his, a photograph of him somewhere? I'll have to find for you guys. When he turned 100, they gave him like a, oh, this stinks too. They gave Jensen like a, I think that, there it is. Yeah. The state of Washington gave Jensen, I'll show it to you. State of Washington gave Jensen like a flag that flew over, the Capitol building in DC for being, so like whenever you, I guess if you're a veteran of World War II and you reach 100, they give you yeah, yep, for your Wesley Petter Jetson on his 100th birthday, for having served in World War II and reaching 100 years old. Yep. So that's kind of cool. You got a flag that flew over the Capitol. So that's neat. There he is. The little smile on his face. Funny, huh? Anyway, no, but Jensen could have been in the back too. It could have been, Jensen could have been the, not the drunk, but Jensen could have been, I like Jensen, by the way, because Jensen is wearing a black raincoat like Cooper, right? Got a turkey gobble. And look at his hair. Okay, Wesley Jensen is what, 53 in this at this time. That hair is mighty dark, isn't it? That hair is mighty dark. That is Cooper hair dye, right? Like, it's funny, like if he wasn't wearing glasses, you'd be like, oh God, Cooper snuck off the plane. I mean, he does have a little bingy nose, doesn't he? Ears stick out a little bit, but his face isn't long. I mean, he's not Cooper, of course, I'm just joking, but like, he does have a turkey neck, and boy, oh boy, does he have some black hair. That is some shoe polish hair. These days, men have the Liam Neeson from Taken, the soy sauce hair, like Paul McCartney has, or Nick Saban. I've noticed Nick Saban. Like, you're not fooling anybody with the soy sauce hair. Like, I guess, but it's Liam Neeson has the soy sauce hair. Yeah, their hair looks like Feingold's hair, and they're in their 70s and 80s, like Paul McCartney. Although I guess McCartney has embraced his gray hair, hasn't he? He's the gray fox now. Anyway, here's Gregory. Look at Spreckle. Spreckle's smiling. What is Spreckle smiling about? He's so happy looking. I do like this little lineup here. We've got our three of our eyewitnesses together, right? Gregory, and there's Nancy House and Spreckle. What does Nancy have with her? Look at that. If this was today, I would think that Nancy had like one of those like Yeti tumblers, like the girls carry around. And Packer says Saban still uses that soy sauce to hit on teenagers. I don't know about that. But yeah, if this was today, I'd be like, oh, she's got a straw sticking out of a tumbler. But that's obviously not it. There's a photograph here too. It's interesting. That I like a lot. This is, to my knowledge, as far as I can tell, according to John Detler, this is this is them coming off the plane there. It's too bad we can't see Gregory carry anything. There's Bill. I didn't know Bill was carrying carry on. That's the first time I noticed that. So Bill's got a carry on. And but this is Don Steele, apparently, who would become one of the Norjack agents along with Detler and Charlie Farrell. But yeah, he goes, "Hey, Larry, how you doing?" Offers his hand. That's always embarrassing when you offer your hand and doesn't get shaked, But anyway, Feingold, he was like, "Oh, hey man, what are you doing on this plane?" And like Larry misremembered this story and told Bruce. This is the problem with, Bruce had to remember all these things, but like, this incident here somehow morphed into agents coming on the plane after Bruce got a hold of it. Feingold mentioned like agents. Feingold mentioned agents Feingold mentioned recognizing an agent that he knew. But this is what happened. It was in the airport. And Scott McPherson told Bruce about a couple FBI guys next to the plane. But what that was, that's Al Lee and Owen McKenna, the driver of the Dodge Dart, the cop. Those aren't FBI guys, and they did not go on the plane, of course. But again, Bruce just had what he had to work with back then. That was all he could do. But yeah, it's a cool photo. Definitely. Anyway, so I'm going to go back to this. So our little map here. I do think that Spreckle, second from the rear, I do think that's row 17, right? Especially the fact that he was able to see the interaction between Flo giving the note to Tina. And that tells me that Flo's right there next to him. And that Spreckle was able to think about this too. Spreckle may be the only witness who says that Tina was always on the phone. And if you're this close, right? If somebody's like right next to me, I can feel them getting up, like out of your peripheral vision, right? If I'm 2 rows in front, I can't see somebody getting up, I don't think, across the aisle. But if you're 1 across the aisle and 1 back, yeah. Let me pull this up. Let me pull something up here. This is the plane that we went on in the Museum of Flight. All right, come on. Let me get this going. Okay, here. Whoa. Oh, crap. Hang on. My bad. Okay. Sorry, folks. Oh, here we go. Perfect. There we are. Okay. So yeah, this is the plane that we went on at CooperCon. Like, I mean, that's really close, right? What I like is how close Cooper was. Is this a ruler? Can I do this? Wait, oh, never mind. Go back. I was gonna go backwards a little bit. If you'll let me do a measurement. Like I said, I'm pretty sure that Bill was like 5 feet on the nose from Cooper. Let's see how far away these seats are. Like, click on a thing to start a measurement. There we go. So, yeah, as I thought. Yeah, So Bill's right elbow was less than 5 feet from Cooper. From Cooper's left elbow. I mean, that's really close. But yeah, the main thing though we're thinking about is like Spreckle. If you're sitting there, you're going to be more likely to be able to feel her get up than if you're, a little further ahead. Anyway. That's not Google Earth. The guy's asking if that was good. No, that's not Google Earth. My Greek friend. That's a virtual tour. You just type in virtual tour 727, and it's the one that's in Seattle. Pretty cool though. Anyway, yeah, the museum plane is not 18 rows, of course. Not many of the 727s were 18 rows. I don't know why the Northwest Orient 727s were like this, but they were. Anyway. Oh yeah, Weitzel's going to be up there with the first class. So that's pretty much it. I said who were the 5 people? So just weird that none of these guys commented. So Pat Minch is still alive. I mean, I've tried to find him. I think Warrenstaff's dead. Menendez though just died recently, which sucks. Because I speculate that he's probably, if he boarded 3rd or 4th to last, he's probably in one of these rows here. It is fortuitous for Cooper that for a guy whose plan relied on, or it should have relied on having the back seat, you would think that he was second to last aboard. I mean, that is odd. You would think you'd want to get your seat, right? You'd want to board, I don't know, isn't that strange? There's so many weird things about Cooper. Like, why didn't he board earlier to secure the back row, to know it was going to be empty? Why did he pass the note to Flo while they were still on the ground in Portland? Like, Flo could have panicked and, oh my God. And like, would the whole hijacking have taken place in Portland? I mean, I guess he could have said, I have a bomb, take off and fly to Seattle, which hijackers did. So it didn't really matter. But why not wait till the engines are revving? And I mean, why not wait? There's going to be more noise once you take off than when you're taxiing. I don't know. I don't know why Cooper did that. Cooper does a lot of things weird. I don't. Like I said, I often say he is the Kobayashi Maru of the FBI. For those that don't know the reference, the Kobayashi Maru is a test in Star Trek that is an unwinnable test. It's a test that all Starfleet Academy students have to take, and it's unwinnable. It basically creates a no-win scenario. It's an impossible thing. And it's almost like the Cooper case is some like alternate universe Kobayashi Maru for FBI, because you cannot figure out who Cooper is because he behaves so contradictory at times. I don't Ollie says, didn't Bill hear any conversation? No, they were whispering the whole time. Cooper whispered to Tina, mostly. But Cooper's just strange. I don't know what to make of him. After all this time of studying the guy, I don't know. Because, I mean, you could say Cooper was a pilot, and there's evidence to back that up. If you read the files a certain way, you could say he's not a pilot, and you would be equally as correct, right? So that's just he is so unique. He doesn't fit into any category. His behavior doesn't make him seem, as Tina said, he had no mental ideations. Whereas other people, would be considered, I mean, like I said, you can compare it to the Heinemann hijacking, where they say in their 302s that he seemed to be mentally unbalanced. Nobody says that about Cooper. So I don't know. But anyway, that's kind of all I've got today, guys. I just wanted to do this little brainstorming session, and I was going to do this. I would have done this by myself. This is what I would have been doing this afternoon. So I just decided to do that. I will have a reaction video coming out, I guess later this afternoon. So I'll have that too. Ollie says, which row were the 5 moved up to? They were moved up to first class. Because that was the incentive. And if you look, we know who had first class tickets. I mean, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, there's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 13 empty first class seats, right? So that's what they were sent. That was like the incentive. Oh, thank you, Guy. I appreciate you. Kobayashi Maru. We are kindred spirits, my brother. Thank you, Guy. Yes. Very much Kobayashi Maru. I wanted to write that in my book, but it's so I probably will. But it is the Kobayashi Maru. This is impossible. I mean, to know who the hell this guy is. But yeah. Anyway, all right, guys. Well, that's all I've got for today. So hit the like button and everything, and I'll have a reaction video, I think, coming out this afternoon, like I said. So you guys be good, and thank you for watching me brainstorm and letting me talk to you guys while I was in the middle of this. So I appreciate you. Bye.